Hey guys, Dozier 851 here with a new Booking the Future, Booking the Future. And I got an idea for Kong Skull Island. Thought I'd run it by my buddy Leslie Chambers. Leslie, let everyone know who you are.
Leslie Chambers, how you doing? YouTube channel, Leslie Chambers. I do S Plus figure reviews as well as movie reviews. So please check it out. Thank you, Matt, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so for Kong Skull Island, we're starting to get some ideas of what's going to happen.
Okay.
Now, my original idea was, like I was going to do before they started having more ideas come out, was the film opens up and Kong actually isn't really the big baddie of the film. The big baddie is another Muto.
Okay.
Muto by the name of Gorosaurus. Okay, so Gorosaurus is actually stomping around on Skull Island, and Kong is only about, well, let's say he's 50 feet tall at least. However, Gorosaurus, he's in the hundreds, so he's much more massive. But the two of them still have great fights with each other.
Okay.
However, during one of the battles, Kong is infected with like this radioactive blood from Gorosaurus.
Okay.
Gorosaurus leaves Skull Island and goes to land. Kong gives chase, but however he mutates. He becomes half Muto, half Kong. So he's in the hundreds of feet tall.
Okay.
So in a city, Gorosaurus battles King Kong.
Okay.
Gorosaurus is killed by King Kong in the middle of the city. The carcass is left there as Kong returns back to Skull Island.
Right.
As he's going back to sleep deep underwater, we see some rumbling, and all of a sudden Godzilla awakes. The film cuts to black then.
Okay.
And that would lead us into Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong 2020, where we have Godzilla goes to Skull Island looking for Kong, and the two begin their battle there. And the two continue their fight back to land where Gorosaurus' body was, because Godzilla thinks that Kong is the actual enemy.
Right.
And during all of this, another Muto is over. Let's say under the idea of Slatter from Pacific Rim.
Okay.
And then Kong and Godzilla have to battle together to fight this new monster.
Right.
And then What do you think?
I think that's good. And matter of fact, you may have come up with something that is even better than what Hollywood would come up with, to be honest with you. That's a great idea, because that's the kind of like the big elephant in the room. How, first of all, there's so many uncertainties going on with the Kong thing. We don't know how really big it's going to be. They did say it's going to be the biggest Kong ever.
Yeah.
How that relates to Godzilla standards is yet to be seen, but that's going to be the I guess the conundrum that they're going to be facing, like how they're going to beat up Kong for Godzilla, which is something they didn't really explain too well in the original one, but with today's standards, you can get the explanation out there if you put the thought into it, like the thought you put into your idea. Do I have faith that they will do that at this point? No. What's up, Goji? No, but anything can happen, you know what I mean? Because, with the Godzilla project being in limbo right now, I mean, of course it doesn't have anything to do with Kong, but, maybe it does in a way. I don't know, it just depends on where they go from here. But I'm really looking forward to the King Kong film. I do love Kong. Godzilla's #1 for me, but I do love Kong. I want to see how they go into a different direction with this Kong. And hopefully it will lead to a showdown with Godzilla at some point. How they do it, I don't know. But my faith is very minuscule at best when it comes to Hollywood.
Okay. 2 more films, I'll at least get your idea.
Yes, sir.
A crossover/battle between Godzilla and Kameda. Okay, that's just an idea. Or some crap. Forgot the last one is. Oh, of course. The big news we got a couple of years ago after Godzilla 2014 is that Legendary got the rights to Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, would you remake Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster, or would you try to introduce them all in their own separate films to build to a Ghidorah, 3-headed monster, or would you just go straight into it?
Well, first of all, as far as the Ghidorah, 3-headed monster thing, I don't think the mainstream, there's a lot of mainstream fans that even know who Rodan it really is. Mothra's a different story. King Ghidorah is more popular because he's perceived as Godzilla's most popular foe, which is true. So I don't see Hollywood getting the money to do an individual Rodan film or a Mothra film or anything like that. I don't see them doing that.
How about a film where Godzilla battles Rodan?
Yes, I mean, and that's the thing.
Perhaps in Godzilla 2.
Right, but that's the thing. Trying to imitate what they did in Egypt Monster, that's one thing I always say. The 60s, the Godzilla films in the 60s, say what you will about the Showa films. Are they silly or cheesy or whatever, but at the same time, that's what gives them their charm. You know what I mean? Jurassic Park, okay, it may be off the chart when it comes to special effects, but I can watch Godzilla vs. Megalon and still be more entertained than Jurassic Park. It's just that they had that charm. And of course they were limited by their time, with technology, so they did what they had to do with the story told. But everything that they did was on point. You know what I mean? Even Godzilla's Revenge, which I know ain't the best Godzilla film.
It's the worst.
Besides
98.
Whatever, 98, whatever, but still.
That year doesn't exist for me anymore.
But still, that film has a charm for me that I enjoy. So I don't have faith that Hollywood. I think Godzilla 2014 was great what it was. It created a genre, it created a door. For them going down the road with other Toho properties, I don't really see that. So I think they would have to include Mothra and Rodan in the same film with Godzilla. It's kind of like, I guess, ride this star power, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to make money. You know what I mean? So I think that they shouldn't try to imitate Ghidorah the monster, because that's a fair way to happen. You cannot recreate something like that. You know what I mean? So they should just try and do their own thing. As far as Godzilla vs. Gamera, the only problem with that is like, I guess kind of same problems that Batman vs. Superman had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like
you got two powerful characters.
Yeah.
One has to lose. How you doing? Sir? Nice to meet you. One has to lose. One has to win. And say what you will about Gamera being a second fiddle or a knockoff, whatever. I put him on the same par as Godzilla. For me.
I haven't started my Gamera-thon. I love Gamera as much as, not as much as Godzilla, he's a step down, okay? But he's a great film to watch, except for a certain movie, we're going to get into that. I'm sure you can figure out which one I'm talking about.
Toto? The one with Toto?
No, I actually kind of like that movie.
You like Gamera the Brave, for real?
Because of Zeus. Zeus.
Interview over. I'm gone.
He eats people. Okay, that's a discussion for another time. Okay.
You know what? I watched Gamera the Brave one time, and it's like my least favorite. I mean, I like Gamera Super Monster over Gamera. I have no problem admitting that. I know it's gonna. If I lose some subscribers, I'm sorry. I really am. But
at least you can say 2014 was better than 98. That will.
Yeah, but you know what? That's another thing. It's unfair to compare the two. And at the time, 98 did a couple things right. The marketing campaign leading up to 98 was good, in my opinion. I think the trailers were good until we saw the actual creature itself and what he did, which was But far as like 2014, I mean, of course, people are going to compare it because that's the natural thing that we humans do. But you can't compare the two, you know what I'm saying? I think 2014 did a better job of, for one, going back to the source material, but yet weaving a different story. You know what I mean? And when I look at the final fight between Godzilla and Mutos, you know what I'm saying, like Terramecha Godzilla, or Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, or Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, all those films didn't involve Godzilla that much until the very last act of the film. But the story between that was really, really good. So I applaud 2014 for going that route. I don't think it was intentional, but that's my opinion on that. But as far as Godzilla vs. Gamera, they have to do it right. That's the only thing I can say. I'm like,
one shot.
Yeah, they have to do it right. And I don't think it's right to have one defeat the other one. I think maybe it should be like a draw, and then maybe they come together again to fight an even bigger threat. That's how I would do it. You know what I mean? Because Gamera is really popular in Japan, and you don't want to tick off any people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And Godzilla, he's such at a high star level right now that a defeat is not going to hurt him at this point. You know what I mean? You know, even by gamble, you know, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. But I don't think a defeat on either side would be the way to go. I think that they would have to meet at a common level and then go from there. But whether it happens or not, it just depends on what Shin Gojira does. And honestly, I feel if Shin Gojira does poorly, I think the
Legendary series is in trouble.
I won't say it's in trouble, but I think that probably like us getting more Toho Godzilla films, I think might be in trouble. And to be honest with you, I'm fine with that. Because I think Godzilla has had a great career, and there's no point of, you know, milking it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, there's no point. I feel like the same way about I hate to disappoint any Ric Flair fans out there, but I feel like Ric Flair maybe should have retired a long time ago. There's no shame in that. I feel the Godzilla series, you know what I'm saying? There's no more new fresh ideas. Then, you know, just let it be. He has plenty of great movies that we all watch over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just an impressive roster of films. So if they stop with Shin Gojira, which more likely they probably won't, I'm fine with that. But that's just me.
So
I say Shin Gojira versus
Legendary Godzilla.
No, the new Gamera.
Oh, new Gamera. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or, like, how about Shin Gojira versus Legendary Godzilla? That would be pretty cool.
That ain't happening.
Yeah, that won't happen.
That won't happen.
Well, if
Unless Toho buys the rights to 2014 with the Legendary Godzilla, which I highly doubt they're going to do because it's going to be a lot more expensive than the 98. So.
hypothetically,
Hypothetically,
like, it would be a pretty cool fight to see.
it'd be a nice popcorn fight to watch.
But in a perfect world, it's not going to happen because, you know, you got too many greedy people that's more about the financial side of things versus like the artistic side of things. Please the fans. I mean, you know, in a way, Shin Gojira is, in a way, I perceive it as like a one-up of Legendary. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing back in the day with 98, and it came out with Godzilla 2000 after that. So it's really no different here. I think Toho's really showing they're like, we're happy with what 2014 did business-wise, but artistic-wise, we want to show you what Godzilla really truly is. So,
I heard Toho actually liked Godzilla 2014.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they like it better than 98. I mean, but more so, Toho's a business. They like more so the money side of it, which is nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because at the end of the day, it's a business. You know what I mean? Their idea is to put butts in the seats to make the money. Now, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so, but it just depends. But it just depends on what Shin Gojira does. I hope for the best for it. I like the design to a certain extent. I more so like the darker direction of the story that it's going into for this design. Do I want to see more of this design in future Godzilla films? No, not really. I don't think that this design is going to be appealing to a lot. I think a one-time thing for a dark, extreme nightmare story.
Scary.
Yes, it's perfect. It's perfect for this design.
Now, if Godzilla wakes up at the end of the movie and he's just the normal Godzilla, I'm gonna be a little annoyed. Like, say, I'll be a nightmare.
Like, just like walking around doing.
No, like he's sleeping, all of a sudden he goes like, what did I just see in my dreams? Oh, well, it goes back to sleep, then the movie just ends. That's gonna annoy me. That's some Looney Tunes stuff here. I like Looney Tunes.
I mean, but it just depends on what they do with it. And you know, I have huge faith in, I forget his name, but he did GMK, and he's directing it. So I have a huge faith that he's going to deliver something good. At least I hope. I mean, I have high hopes. I have high hopes for 98, but you know what? We move on. You know what I'm saying? And as far as 2014, it's not what I wanted it to be, but it was good where I could still enjoy it and not have my what I wanted to be to deter what the film was to me. You know what I mean? So it just depends on your perspective. But that's my advice to everybody out there. Just don't let your expectations of a film deter you from liking the film. If it fails to meet your expectations, just still try to enjoy it. Whatever. Don't bash it just because, you know, they didn't show Godzilla until like an hour into the fair and stuff like that. Just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, just enjoy the fact this is a great time to be a Godzilla fan. You know what I mean? With Shin Gojira coming out, and more likely they're going to do the Gamera film at some point. So let's just try and enjoy it versus trying to bash everything. You know what I mean?
One thing that Godzilla 2014 didn't do that really was an injustice. And as much as everyone wants to say that, oh, Godzilla didn't show up until this point in this movie, didn't show up this point. Think of the film that shows Godzilla the least. in the Toho franchise. What's one big thing that they always did? They always had Godzilla when he first showed up. Big, grand style. You got to see him head to toe. You got to see a few minutes of him like that, and then they would cut away. In Godzilla 2014, however, when we first see him, bam.
Yeah.
I like those big sweeping shots, especially out of one of my favorite films, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Remember when he first comes out of the water, they're playing the music, and you see him toes the head, and he's walking around. It's a good minute and a half we get to it, and basking his glory before he decides to cut away to things.
But then after that, it's non-stop Godzilla action after that point. He's almost in every scene after that. 2014, I was able to. I mean, of course, it was disappointing when you finally see him and then they don't show the fight at the airport. But I went into the Godzilla 2014 with the whole Jaws mentality. In Jaws, we don't see the shark that much until like the very end. But the story is good, where that you're able to enjoy it and not counting down the minutes when Godzilla is going to be on screen. Now, if they deliver on the final fight at the end, yes, all that build up, all that weight would have been just all for nothing. But I think him fighting the Mutos at the very end made up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially the kiss of death.
Yes. Absolutely. Even the build up when he used his fire with whatever.
Like the tail,
he had the tail lights up, whatever. And to be honest, when I watched the movie, I didn't even think about that, like him using his fire. But then when they used that scene, it was like, oh yeah, it's about to happen. You see, storytelling techniques like that make it for a better film. Could Godzilla be in the film more? Absolutely. But at the same time, like I mentioned before, with Godzilla was a sea monster, Terramecha Godzilla was a King Ghidorah. Godzilla was in those films that all that much to the very end, but those three films are still very, very good and entertaining. So why should Godzilla 2014 be any different?
Well, I do have a bit of a counter to that. Those films, their titles are like Godzilla versus something, or Godzilla against something, so we know what is sort of the basic plot, but for Godzilla 2014, it's basically just Godzilla. No, to be the main threat, to be the bad guy.
That's my fault too, but it was a bait and switch when you saw the film versus the trailer. And that's the only thing I had something to say bad about the film. But you know what? At the end of the day, like I mentioned, that was my expectations. But at the same time, when I watched the film, it wasn't that bad where it's going to leave me to bash the film. Would I like to it? Godzilla being the sole threat? Absolutely. But it's not what we got. But we still got a great film out of it regardless. So, which believes the Shin Gojira. Because, in my opinion, suppose Godzilla 2014 wasn't a success. We probably wouldn't have got a Shin Gojira. They probably would have went into another direction with that. So now we finally get a nightmarish Godzilla film, which is something I've been wanting to see. They touched on it a little bit in the original one, and especially in GMK just a little bit, but we never got the hardcore evil nightmarish Godzilla. You know what I mean? But now we're going to get it with Shin Gojira.
We were close in '84.
Yeah, we were close to '84. But '84, that Godzilla was more like a wandering animal. He wasn't like the city destroying demon of 54. This Godzilla, the Shin Gojira, he looks like he came straight from hell. And I like that, because I think that in the Godzilla film, it's alright to be scared, at least of him. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how they do this. And that's the thing about the marketing. We haven't seen that much from them. We've seen like little TV spots on the internet or whatever, but they haven't really come out with a whole lot of details about that film. And I like that. What you don't know is a whole lot more interesting than what you do know. So I'm on board to see what they have. As far as the availability of the film, I probably won't do a bootleg. I don't think that's right to do that. So I'm just waiting until we get a proper release. If I have to wait 5 months after the fact and hear from whatever, then I'm willing to do that. I'm really looking forward to this film, but I don't want to see a bootleg one that was made dampen the presentation of it.
Yeah. All right, one final thing. Mothra.
Overexposed.
No. Rebirth trilogy.
Okay.
I enjoyed the Rebirth trilogy. I think the third one is the best one.
Attack of King Ghidorah, right?
Rebirth.
No, King Ghidorah attacks.
Yeah, something like that.
Rebirth the Mothra 3. Yeah, Rebirth the Mothra 3, King Ghidorah attacks. Yeah.
Now I got to thinking, in the Millennium series, they resurrected the bones of the 54 Godzilla and made Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if they took the bones or the remains of the Mothra that passed away in Rebirth 1, and they made like a mech version out of that Mothra and battled the regular Mothra. Would that be really cool or really stupid?
I think it'd be really cool. It just depends on. This thing about Mothra is always going to be the good guy. So if you make a mecha, is it a bad version or is it going to be Mothra turn back? Which is one thing I would like to see Mothra do. I want to see Mothra do something malicious, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? They kind of teased that in Tokyo SOS about you don't return Godzilla's bones in the sea, then we'll attack humanity, whatever. I think that seeing Mothra doing some destruction, some malicious destruction, not doing destruction because she comes to save the cosmos or the princess and the fairies, or whatever they call them. I think to see Mothra do some destruction, something for one we haven't seen before, I think something would be really, really cool. So it just depends on how they handle it.
Well, I'm done. So, thank you very much.
No problem. I'm glad to do this. I'm glad to be a part of this. And this guy's off the chain. You know what I'm saying? The channel's off the chain. His insight, his passion, his enthusiasm is off the chain. And I know we talked about doing the Godzilla King Door a while back. Sorry we had to get out of schedule to be able to do so. But shortly after G-Fest, we're going to have our discussion of Godzilla King Door, his favorite Godzilla film of all time, and my favorite film of the Heisei period. Thank you, Goji. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Leslie.
All right.
All right, guys.
We'll see y'all again.
Please like, comment, subscribe. This guy's awesome. Have a good day.